Guys, almost pushed the wrong button and ended the stream. So you guys know we got Levon from the Knife Nuts podcast. Go easy on him. He's tired. He was at a wedding, and it's 10:30 at night where he's at. So just to remind everybody, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, the full video version is available through the link that's in the description of the video, which you're probably going to want to watch because there's always a lot of fun things that get shown in some of these podcasts. And just remember, this is not a place for politics or current events. There's enough of that crap that you get throughout YouTube. Let's just hang out, talk about knives, and have some fun. So let's go ahead and bring Levon in. Hey, bud.
Wow. Hey.
Welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. And, I'm always thrilled to be, in the passenger seat, because I feel like every time I do this, I'm kind of piloting the crashing plane.
I was going to say you're keeping Jake on track and keeping Dave on track and keeping Brian from demonetizing the podcast because he's going to say something that's going to get someone in trouble.
I'm basically some sort of a herding breed of dog.
Every time I listen to your podcast, I kind of picture you wearing a black and white jersey as the referee at a WWE event. Not like a football game with something easily manageable. No, WWE.
WWE is out. AEW is in.
What is it?
That's the new thing, man. I've recently got back into pro wrestling.
I haven't. I don't even have cable.
I highly recommend. I highly recommend you watch AEW.
Is it on YouTube? Because I don't.
I'm trying
to avoid any of these streaming services because I don't agree with their business practices.
It's on TNT. It's now like the main competition to the Vince McMahon stuff.
Which means he's going to buy it and own it like he did with everything else that competes with it.
It's not going to happen. That's why it's not going to happen. It's owned by someone as rich as he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I wanted to start typically the whole thing. Tell us about yourself. I'll give you the whole screen. You got solo layout. Tell us about yourself, and then we'll get into some of the other questions. There you go.
Oh man, I don't really know what to say. This is I'm 1/4 of the Knife Nuts podcast, but you guys probably already know that. We started that show in 2017. Didn't think it would turn into anything. It's held a pretty substantial and loyal,
the immensely popular Knife Nuts podcast.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I don't know if it's how popular it is, but people enjoy it, and we enjoy producing it. My love of knives is pretty organic, and it seems to be here to stay. So it hasn't become a chore, So I still love the hobby, and I love the people in it.
I actually always do that because I always forget to do a couple things. So I send out some text telling people not to mess with me. And then I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm like, yeah, tell me about yourself. You got solo screen.
Are we recording this or is this live?
It's live and we're recording it. So you're going to see. So if you can see, there's comments on the side, like, there you go. So there you can see Jake, one of my paying members says, hey, Levon. Hey, Mike.
Oh, hey, Jake.
Since we're talking about the paying members, I just want to remind everybody we're at 46 paying members on my YouTube channel. We hit 50. I'm giving away 2 rare cold steel triple actions, but we did have, I got up to 47 and then one person dropped. So if you were a paying member, check your status to make sure you didn't get kicked out by accident.
Give me, send me a link to the live stream. So I'll post it up right now.
It's on my YouTube channel. Hang on. It's really hard to do. Can someone
DM me the link?
Can someone DM Levon the link on Instagram?
That's even better if you follow me already, so that way I don't have to go in and prove you or something like that.
One of my moderators, please DM Levon.
How about this? Nuts. The first person to DM me the link, I'll send you guys something. I don't know, some stickers.
You guys have got some dope stickers. I still have.
Oh, thank you. I do all of our graphic design.
You sent me a sticker one time that was one of the ones that actually entered me in a giveaway, and I didn't know about it.
Yes.
And so I listened to the because I don't ever listen to the podcast on a regular basis. I just kind of like a day where I don't have anything going on, which is very rare these days.
Do you hear this, man? Do you hear this, man?
Yeah.
That 46 is about to go to 45.
So, you know what? I wanted to ask you.
Hmm.
Well, not really ask you. I just kind of wanted to get your take on this. So, like, you know how, like, I've listened to you guys' podcast basically since it started. I
I
forget.
thought you said you don't listen.
No. I listen to it. I just don't listen to it regularly. I'll
see.
binge it. Like, I'll listen to like 3 full episodes at once. Especially like if I have to take my daughter to physical therapy all the way up at Laguna, it's like 120 miles, or it's like 110 miles one way.
Yeah, like 4-day-old pasta sauce.
Yeah, so I'll just binge it while I'm on the way up there and back over my Bluetooth earpiece in the car, so my kid doesn't have to listen to it. But
good move.
All of you guys, yeah, I mean, you and Jake and Brian, I've met all you guys, but I hadn't met Dave. Now, like when I hear your voice, I see your face and I'm like, it makes sense. Same with Jake. Same with Brian. Like Nick Shabazz. I'm friends with Nick Shabazz. Like his voice, if you could get a mental image from that voice, you're probably pretty close.
Yeah,
and then I see Dave and I'm like, that doesn't match. Like that is absolutely his
I see, to me,
because you've known him forever.
I met Dave before I heard his voice.
Yeah.
So
right?
It sort of makes sense to me. But yeah, I can see he's got a very distinct voice.
He does. He has a really distinct voice. And that's not what I was picturing. I was picturing a really, not that he's not clean cut. I was picturing like somebody that wears a suit and tie all the time, like a business person, and like short hair. Clean.
Like, no,
and I saw the YouTube channel. I'm like,
academic metal guys basically are the same thing. It's the same thing. Like people who are like lifetime academics, they and metalheads, they're basically are just trying to not wear a suit all day. They're just at this level that, he's a very smart guy. Yeah.
I had to wear a suit pretty much daily for a while until I started. This is when I first started working for the government after I retired, and I was doing the physical security thing, and I had to brief the captain all the time, and I stayed clean shaven, clean haircut, and then they gave me counter surveillance. They're like, oh, now you run counter surveillance. And I'm like, okay, now I have an opportunity to look like a shitbag because I don't want to fit that mold of the government employee. Who's that? Jake,
your boy Jake.
Yep, Jake.
He came through.
So Jake asked, have I ever met Nick in person? I actually had my birthday dinner with Nick Shabazz at USN in Vegas with Nick Shabazz, Will and Eric Touch, who may be coming on the podcast. I'm really good friends with them. Aaron Frederick and my little buddy Nico. So if you can,
that's when he had the mohawk, right? When Nick had the mohawk. Yeah.
Who, Nick?
Yeah, when Nick had the mohawk.
No. He had the reverse mohawk. Yeah, that was exactly what it was. So
yeah, it was up on the side. That's what
it was. This always happens. We're like 8 minutes in. I've asked one question.
That's fine.
How did you get into knives? Like, I already know how Jake did. I know how a lot of people do. It's just like it's a tool thing, or
no. I mean, that's really it. I mean, I think Jake told pretty much the story. It's always something that you're used to having. Like I remember as a kid, I think I told this story on the podcast one time. Like the first pocket knife, I begged my conservative Armenian father to get me like one of the tiny little Swiss Army knives, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm not even kidding. I probably was maybe, I don't know, 10.
Oh, wow, you started late.
Yeah, I wasn't like too, I did start late. It was, maybe I was younger. I don't know. At that age, I feel like everybody's the same age, like between 8 and 10, whatever, 8 and 12. I just got this little Swiss Army knife, like one you would get like for like a Boy Scout or something.
Yeah, like the little tinker, like the three
exactly.
Short blade, long blade, maybe a pair of scissors, the screwdriver, and the leather all.
Exactly. I remember like trying to figure out, because the pull on the older ones was pretty strong, and I remember trying to get the idea of how to, get the pull going. And I remember trying to get it going with my teeth at one point, and it snapped back onto my lip. And I'll never forget, like hanging there, just walking out to I think my mom or dad, man, like with the Swiss Army knife stuck on my lip. It didn't do any damage, so.
My first knife was
it looked
like,
worse than it was.
I had this little, and I can't find it anywhere. I'm really brokenhearted about it. I was going to put it in 5 Knives That Make Me Smile, the video I did, and I couldn't find it. My dad bought me a tiny little. What are you doing?
I am being productive.
Oh, you're posting
spreading
this?
the word of the show, and I'm also listening to you. Have you heard of multitasking?
Yes. Yeah, I was in the military. But I had that little knife, and I can't find it anywhere. My dad got it for me. I was like 6 years old, but it was just a little silver sword, the Camelus Silver Sword 41.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can't find them anywhere, but he engraved my initials on it in his handwriting, and I turned that into my logo. Shopcat has arrived. I can tell because the light turned on.
Oh,
in my garage.
I'm sure Hector will make an appearance soon. That wasn't the knife that like really. I mean, there was probably a decade or two between me getting another knife that I carried around regularly. I mean, there are probably some sprinkled in between, but there was a spring-loaded buck that I carried around probably from when I was 18 or 19. I always carried that around, and I hated it. After a while, it just like fell apart.
Snuzz says Swiss Army lip.
Swiss Army lip. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But I remember, I guess this had to have been. This is what really like. I always talk about gateway knives and knives that really.
I got to do something here. Thank you, Aiden. Shopcat.
Nice.
Aiden always drops a super chat when I say something about the cat coming in.
Oh, that's nice. I'm waiting for a Shopcat to show up.
He just went in the house. He thinks my wife is in there because now my wife has been. Well, no, because we feed him outside, but my wife lets him up on the couch, and she'll sit there and snuggle him and pet him, and now he's like, "Yeah, I like you, but that lady in there is really nice." And then when he realizes she's not in there, he's going to come out here and try and hop up in my lap.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. And plus my wife's way more attractive. I can't blame him.
Yes, that makes sense to me too. The gateway knife for me, I mean, it's not really that exciting, but was a mini grip. And I actually got it. Jake actually had picked it up for me. I was like, you know what? I need a new knife. I was working on Black Friday. I worked in retail. I still kind of do. And I said, you're going out to Cabela's for Black Friday. Can you pick up a knife? Find me a knife that I need to replace whatever I was carrying at the time, something garbage. And I said, try and keep it like, under $100 if you can. And he brought me this mini grip. Yeah, no, I was under $70 or something like that.
That's back. I mean, back before Benchmade decided to try and just make their knives all garbage. That was a really good knife. I remember. Yeah, the mini grip was a really nice knife.
Also, the universe has progressed since then too. So.
Yes,
but I was so incredibly impressed. It was half serrated, black blade, OD green, and D2.
Yeah. I remember those ones.
Mini grip. Yeah,
I remember those ones. I think I had one when the mini grips first came out. I had one, and it was the black blade half serrated. And I hate half serrated blades, but it was the only one they had available. And
Yeah, exactly. I was
overseas
either.
I was overseas at the time. I think I was still in Japan at the time, and I was like, all right, so it was a black handle with the black blade and the half serrated. So Knife Collector. So Brant says the Benchmade mini grip was my first high-end blade. I think that's back in the day. That was what really got people into knives. Sometimes was the Benchmades, because back in the day, I said this.
What else was there?
They were so great for they were, especially back when they were Pacific Cutlery. They were so great, and they got you into that. And then you saw that there were some good production knives, because for a long time you had Benchmade. Would you have Benchmade, Gerber, Kershaw, and basically anything else.
Spyderco.
Yes, well, I try not to talk about Spyderco.
I know. I'm determined to get this post made. I'm gonna just.
But those were the knives that kind of got you into it, and then those were the ones where you were like, oh, they're not all like gas station crappy knives. Put a dent in that thing for me. We've been talking about. I'm gonna give away this this bottle with all the dents in it that I'm using a a Grimsmo Norseman as my clapper for my cowbell, dinging up that water bottle, and I'm just going to give it to one of my paying members. So
that's a good idea.
What made you guys start a podcast? I know what made me do it.
Actually, it was another podcast. Well, it's short story long. I was laid up with an injury, and I was spending a lot of time on the phone talking about the industry and stuff with Brian Nadeau, who is another friend of mine, and Jake, and Dave, in separate conversations. I was having these conversations consistently, and they were all long, drawn out, very detailed conversations. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I would also take rides out to Brian at times, and I would listen to Austin, Epic Snuggle Bunnies podcast at the time. The Neanderthal, what's it called? Modern Neanderthal podcast.
Yeah. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach. And I thought, it's something that we could do. And I thought, if we find these conversations interesting and we have a lot to say, there's people that would want to hear them, hear these conversations.
I honestly can say that I started my podcast because you guys started your podcast.
Oh.
And I had, it was that. And then I had a friend at the time, and we're not really friends anymore. There was a falling out, but it was kind of a mutual thing where we just decided it was better we don't talk to each other anymore. But we had talked about doing a podcast, and there was 3 of us. Well, the other 2 guys both had YouTube channels at the time, and we were talking about doing something like this, getting the software. But the problem was, like, one guy stopped his channel, and then me and the other guy had a falling out, and then he shut his channel down, and I was the only one that kept a channel going. And I was like, well, that's not going to work. I was like, I can't do a podcast by myself. I mean, people do it, but they're much more entertaining than me. And then I was like, well, I have the YouTube channel now. And now at this point, I know enough people in the knife world. I'll just get the software, and I'll invite every one of my friends from the knife world in and do it this way. And especially now that I can't go to shows and stuff like that, because I loved going to shows. Now that I can't go to shows and stuff until they come my direction, because I can't really travel because of my autoimmune disorder and the doctor's orders with the COVID stuff. This seems to make more sense. So I've just invited people that I missed seeing, like Elliot Williamson and Jim Skelton and Nick Shabazz and stuff like that. And I was like, what better way to do it than just do it like a podcast format?
I mean, makes sense to me. I mean, and if anything that this year has taught us is that this is an invaluable form of communication and getting out there and, well, just being personable. So it's something that has just gotten more popular.
Yeah. And well, the thing, like I was telling somebody, I was like, we do this, the whole like Zoom stuff. My daughter basically does school that way. Not because of COVID, but because she's in like an online charter school. And it's become a really valuable way of doing things. And we started doing like the Netflix party and things like that, a 2-7 party, and we'd watch movies together, me and my friends. And I was telling everybody, I was like, we used to do this back in the day when I was younger, when I was overseas, and you'd have friends that were all over the world in the military, and we would just go to MSN Messenger, and we'd pick out a movie that we all had. And we'd all start it at the same time and then just watch it and mess around on our laptops.
That's cool. Yeah.
So
early internet was best internet.
We had such crappy internet overseas.
I'm just now going through all the comments here.
Oh, so yeah. So you can see the comments.
Yes. Let's see what we got here.
There's a lot of stuff.
Oh my goodness. There's a lot in here.
Well, there's 31 people and we've been doing this for 19 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, sinister. So Duke says Kershaw leaked for me 18 years ago, then a CJRB Krag, then Feldspar. Now it's out of control. Oh. It's funny how it's funny how it snowballs, because at one point I'm like, wow, I just spent $100 on a knife. And then like now I see stuff online and I'm like, 1,200. That's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, like, who are you talking to? What was your first knife over $100?
I was talking about this the other day, and I'm trying to think. I think the first knife that I had that was over 100, and I don't think I have it anymore. I think on it, and I think it was.
I still have mine. I think it's over there.
It was a cold steel. It was a cold steel. And I want to say it was the old original cold steel AK-47s when they first, the second gen, not the first gen, but the second, not the ones with the axis lock, but the ones with the, just the lockback. They weren't even triad locks yet, I don't think. It might have been a triad lock. I think that was my first, like.
It's like 2021 me actually prefers that knife to what I had my first knife.
That's a knife that, like, I asked people like knives that they wish they hadn't got rid of, which is on the list of things I'm going to ask you later. But that's the one. Like, I gave that kid, and I just can't justify buying that knife again. There's several of those, like the cold steel double agent 2, the neck knife with the big, and it had the finger ring for the pinky and the index.
What the hell are you going to do with that, Mike? What are you going to do with that?
Right? And I was like, I got rid of it because you couldn't keep it sharp because of the correct sheath. And I'm like, but I look back and I'm like, I kind of wish I hadn't got rid of that because it was so much fun. You know, I've got stuff that I got stuff that's just
definitely
fun.
have some guilty pleasure.
That's
a specialty of mine.
What am I gonna do with this?
I mean, I have like 15.
I had one of each blade. I had one of each blade shape. The 2015 models.
I have an OTF over here. Hold on. I brought up one case.
Yeah, Jake was telling me about. He's like, "Oh, it's too bad the Pelican case wasn't here. He's got like huge ones." Is that the Heretic?
No.
I can't see. It's a small little screen.
Let's see. Can we get it? This is the YouTuber thing, right? Where you do this.
Yeah, right. I can't.
Okay. Well, anyway. It's the Deadlock Model C by Hawk Knives.
Oh, I think I got to see one of those at USN.
We're getting to see one right now.
Yeah, and I was really impressed by the fact that there was not all that slop in it like you get out of a lot of OTFs.
That is the whole entire point.
Yeah, there is none.
The Deadlock.
If you guys don't know, the Deadlock has got no
blade play. No blade play. That's why it's called the Deadlock.
So
but this is the Model C, and this is the prototype. Number 6 of 40. It's a lot of
6 of 40. I have a knife here I have a Ferrum Forge here that's number 11 of 40.
Does this look weird when the blade just sort of shows up from?
Not really. It's not on my channel. It doesn't. Snuzz is like full screen, Mike. You'd have been able to see it better. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
What is your favorite knife show that you've been to so far? I mean, I know you haven't came out to Blade West, which is fun. I mean,
know
it's a completely different. I mean, it's not that it's a different thing. It's smaller. Like the Cali Custom Show and Blade West is.
It's an unfair question to ask me right now because I do have. I go to Blade. I stick to mostly East Coast shows.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Just because I work 2 jobs, I have a day job and I do a lot of knife related stuff as well. So it's really hard to find time to travel. That should change for me in the next coming season. So you should see me more at a lot of different shows. I would love to get out to the USN show, California
USN is fun.
Show.
USN is my favorite one so far.
The Tactical Knife Invitational.
That's a good one too. They have so that's so the TKI and Friday Night Blade Affair are kind of the same thing for the Cali Custom Show and the Vegas Custom Show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's TKI is.
I just don't like dressing up. So
TKI is where Aaron and I got so drunk together. The first time I met him was at TKI.
Oh, that's where you got so drunk together.
The first time. The second time was in Vegas at USN.
That's where they got so drunk together.
Yeah,
that's where that one time.
No, it's like every time I see him. Like every time I talk to him on the phone, I'm like, I need a glass of whiskey now.
But as far as to answer the question for shows that I've been to, yeah, that's another one I would like to go to. A lot of the international ones I would love to go to as well.
Yeah, I would too.
But to answer the question, Blade is very overwhelming. I pretty much go now just because I feel like it's an obligation. for me to go. And I just really enjoy seeing people, but I never get to see everybody I want to see. And I used to really love, my favorite show was going to the New York show.
I've heard you guys talk about that a bunch of times.
Which is ironically in New Jersey.
Yeah. Wow.
But it's close enough. So for me in Philadelphia, it's only, you know, an hour and a half ride, maybe an hour and 45 minutes. When there's not a blizzard.
Yeah.
it took me a 6-hour drive to get there.
That's like where they're doing Blade Show West this year is Long Beach. And it's in about the same area that we always go for the Cali Custom Show. And so I think they might actually be having it at the same place. And
right.
it's literally an hour and a half from here. And so I can drive up there.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if I didn't have a room, I could stay at my buddy Tino's parents' house.
There you go. I just prefer like more intimate shows. I really get to see everything and spend a good amount of time with the people that I want to. And that's where I really get to meet a lot of new makers, is those smaller shows. And I love spending a lot of time with more of the art knife stuff. Like I really get a kick out of that.
That's why I like Blade. That's why I like Blade West, was because every time I went, and even Cali Custom Show, I think Will and Eric came down for a Cali Custom Show once. I love Will and Eric Touch. Like I went to their shop. They're great Dudes. I hung out with Eric at the show, and they come up. They always find me at the show. There he is. Hey! Yeah,
I got a Sparrowhawk.
Sparrow, yeah. And so we got to go to. So I used to get to see him every time we go up there, but I haven't got to go up since 2019. So but yeah, I love those guys, and there's just like you find those groups of people. I like Tony Marfione Jr. I like TJ over at Heritage.
He's a good dude.
I like Tony Marfione Sr. I like Tony.
Tony's a character, man.
Tony's a good dude.
I got no beef with
Tony. Jason McCoy, now that he doesn't work at Microtech, that's kind of a bummer. I was hoping that I get to see him at Blade West. I may still. I don't know what's going on with his new job or where he's working, but yeah, it's just you find like groups of people that you like to hang out with, and that's what it turns into. The first day of the show is you go around, you see everything, and then the second day of the show is you go to those tables and you just bounce to those tables like 8-10 times. You just make your rounds around and maybe see something like, I'll go look at that.
Right.
Especially the smaller show, like a smaller venue. Like this year, I think there's only either 60 or 70 exhibitors at Blade Show West.
Wow. That's
small.
Very minimal. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the way they do it and the venue that they do it in, it's going to feel bigger than it actually is because they do a really good job organizing it and stuff like that. So
someone in the comments is asking if I still have, if I'm enjoying my VC Edge interface. And the answer is yes.
I haven't seen one.
Well, if you're about to.
Cool. Here, let me give you,
Jake
as other people said, I'll give you the full screen.
Hold on. Don't give it to me yet.
Already did. Too late.
Did Jake steal it? I think Jake took it.
Jake took it. Jake, if you're watching, you got to let us know. He's not watching.
Oh, no.
He's in bed.
No, he didn't take it. I got it.
Okay, hang on a second. Let's see.
So, Mike, you haven't seen this?
No. Let me see.
So, this is the VC Edge. I feel like such a douche doing this. This is not the way I like to do anything. But
it's backwards too. It's mirrored. So
it's mirrored. This is, come on, man. I thought this was an A tier production.
No, I'm in my garage sitting next to a blue love seat.
No, fair enough. But so this is basically made of carbon fiber. Very
okay.
Incredibly machined.
With basically
incredibly engineered,
like a subframe lock almost in it. Ooh.
Yeah. So it's basically it's almost like a laminate, but you can actually see this is carbon fiber, and then the edge is M390.
Ooh.
But you can't really see it. This isn't fun. Go on my Instagram and you can see the pictures.
Yeah.
How the actual edge is inset into the carbon fiber blade. You have there's titanium inset there, contacting the titanium. I mean,
nice.
It weighs 1.7 ounces, and it's
holy crap.
Yeah, 1.7 ounces, and it's 3 point. What is it? somebody knows in the comments, I've had a very long day. I think it's what is it, 3.5 inch blade, over a 3.5 inch blade. Very good.
It sounds snappy as shit too.
I mean, the action is actually unbelievable.
Well, see here, okay, so 38. I'll let you in on a secret. As much as I love knives and I'm friends with a lot of knife makers, and I have a review channel, by the time I get done filming 5 videos a week, 2 live feeds and a podcast, I really don't want to look at anything knife related. So I watch goofy stuff on YouTube. That's like, I don't like, unless somebody sends me something, I'm like, so when you're like, you haven't seen this? No, I haven't seen it. Like, I don't go out of my way to try and find something.
I don't watch knife stuff on YouTube at all. I live on Instagram. Out. Like, I'm literally posting, looking at stuff, answering questions, talking to makers on Instagram, but on YouTube, literal garbage. That's what I watch.
The only things that I watch on like knife related is Neves Knives. I'll go to his, if he's doing a live, I will go on to one of his lives just to harass him.
Who?
Jared Neves Knives.
Oh,
that's a channel you should follow. He does a lot of fun podcast or like podcast style live feeds like I do. But I like to harass him. And what I did the last time I was messing with him, I was actually watching the live feed on my phone in the shower. And I took a picture of myself in the shower and texted it to him on his phone while he was doing a live feed. That's the only reason I watch it. It's just to harass him and give him problems. And he's like, yeah, bro, thanks. I didn't need that.
Nobody needed that, Mike.
No one does. Beardo the Weirdo. What's up, guys? Beardo, I got your email, by the way.
Hi, Beardo.
Beardo the Weirdo. I was trying to see if my first knife that was over 100 was in this case, and it's not. But I was going to show you a knife that I got as a gift since we were talking about TJ.
You can't show me anything because it's just me on the screen.
I do partake of I do partake of the devil's lettuce. I forget things from time to time.
Me too.
This was a gift from one of my YouTube subscribers.
Nice.
Since we were talking about heretic knives,
look at that badass Cerakote, man.
I mean, it is pretty nice, but
it's pretty nice.
It's one of the old ones. Still has an H clip.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
I like the H clip actually.
It looks pretty gnarly. I'm not.
It's actually I find it a little bit more comfortable.
Like that, the thicker one.
Yeah,
one with the big wedge of a blade. Their new stuff is very nice.
But I was gonna say, so there's out the sides.
Yeah,
they've got some snap. The only ones that have is the only out the side autos that I've seen that snap as well as they don't want to come out of your hand as a heretic is some of the Protec. Protec puts they put some overpowered springs in their autos.
They're also using thinner blade stock and stuff too. Then
that's true.
So there's a lot more velocity coming out of those frames.
Yeah,
I love a Protec.
Snuzz told me he thought I was going to show off my MTech. So I was given an MTech as a gift, and I did a review video about it just because I felt like I was obligated to. No, I put it back in its box. Snuzz, I just really don't want to fucking look at it ever again. I don't want to have to. Beardo says, if anyone wants a Microtech stitch, my gun shop has one for sale. Good to know. I wish you hadn't fucking told me that. Thought I was done buying knives.
Mark, can you not get an auto stitch or something?
I bought a Grimsmo Norseman, and my wife found out how much it cost because I love it. I've always loved them since the first time I got one in hand. For me, I find it a really functional blade. I like everything about it, and I carry it.
I'm just giving you crap, but I hate that knife.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do, and I was like, "That's the nice thing about the knife world. If you don't like this knife, there's fucking plenty of others. There's 100%. A whole ton. I got $10,000 worth of knives sitting next to me." Yeah, right. But no, I got this, and then my wife.
I like yours isn't overdone either. I like that.
No, mine's real simple. The only thing I did was I re-anodized it and I two-toned the pocket clip with an orange peel. So it's blue on this.
Work, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't know if I've ever told you that, but you always do nice work, no matter what you do.
I try to, especially with the sharpening stuff. Like that's where I really like to.
I'm going to send you some stuff, and you're going to sharpen it for me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Just let me know how you want it done. I've got multiple different stones and
I'm going to give you. You do free reign. It's taster's choice.
Cool. You'll get some 12,000s and some super mirror polished and stuff like that. Snuz's like, we have a sickness. But yeah, my wife was like, no more knives showing up. And so I had to, the only reason I was able to get the Boker that I just recently bought for the channel with a ceramic blade was I had a friend that gave me a gift card that he had on knifecenter.com. And so I bought it with the gift card. And I'm like, I didn't spend any of the money. That's what I told her. But I actually definitely had to spend some of the money.
This is the benefit of being single and not being, I just do what I want.
She usually doesn't flip out, but when she saw that I had paid over $1,000 for a knife, she's like,
one more for the road.
Yeah. What was this? Cue ball, is the Olight driver worth getting? I saw Jared's on his channel, and I thought it was a pretty good looking knife for it. I mean, it's not like a super high end knife or anything. Have you seen one yet, Levon?
What, the O knife?
Olight, yeah, the O knife, the driver.
My buddy got one. I just thought it was called O knife. I didn't know it had a name.
It was. That's what
I don't
they
like
called
the design. I'm not into like. It just looks. It's over designed. It has the. I'm not into like all too much choil. But it is a Kaiser built knife. It's nice.
Was it Kaiser? That's why I was curious who had done it.
It's not bad.
No, it didn't look bad.
My problem is that there's so many good knives out there in that price range. Where does that fall in the hierarchy of that's the one I'm going to buy?
Like, I like this one. That's Kaiser.
A really cool design. Yeah, and
the Kaiser Grazioso. I really like this one.
What's the dude's name that designed that? It's
Sharif Manganis.
Yeah,
Manganis. Sharif Manganis.
I think that's my favorite of his designs, actually.
Well, Jared over at Neves Knives, he sends me boxes of stuff because he gets knives from companies. Like his channel's enough bigger than mine that he gets stuff in for review, and he sends it to me because he knows this is my whole job right now. This is what I got going. I was like, I'm doing this and 5 days a week, and I got the memberships. So he sends me stuff. Well, when I did the review of this video, I was like, well, I'm glad you like it because it's yours. I was like, oh wow, cool. So this is a really nice one.
Yeah, I like that one.
And I was saying it in the video, the review I did. It's nice because it's functional, but it's also something. It's got some lines and stuff you don't see real often.
And it's a little more out of left field for Kaiser because they don't really put out too many things that excite me. So that's probably my favorite of their current lineup right now.
There's
the best. Still, my favorite Kaiser is the T1. So if you can still find a T1.
I've sharpened a few of those. They're a pretty good knife.
That's a very good knife.
Their knives have always been really good, functional. Like the action's always been good. They always felt good in hand, but they're just like the finishing touches, like the fit and finish.
They've always been like a little step behind,
right? And now they seem to like this year. They seem to just like, fuck it, we're gonna get it right this year.
Yeah.
It seems like they finally got their shit all in one sock, as my chief would have said when I was in the Navy.
I believe that is true.
Zach says he'll be back in a few. Jeremy says they are releasing another model next week. I really feel bad when I do a review of a video review of a knife.
Olight is releasing a model next week.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm very cynical. So I think I'm maybe not that cynical. I buy a lot of knives. But there's just so much stuff, right? And you should buy whatever you like. So the more the merrier.
Jeremy says yes. Olight.
Yeah. I'm also a flashlight snob. So Olight's not at the top of my list when it comes to flashlights either. But
see, I just got into flashlights, so I really like. I'm one of their affiliates. And
I like Olight.
They've sent me a bunch of stuff.
That's like your flashlight training wheels.
Right. And I'm just hoping I don't really get into the high end stuff because I have the Baton 3 with the charger case.
That's your gateway flashlight. There it is.
Right. Great.
I will say that Baton, that's a good flashlight.
I got the new, this is that one, the premium that has the charger case, like an earbuds, like an AirPod. It's great.
That's what we all need.
It's great though, because
you're going to carry that around in your pocket, Mike.
If I go camping, I'm not going to carry it in my pocket. I'm going to throw it in my backpack.
Everybody in the comments, hold him to this. Make sure he carries his AirPods flashlight with him all the time.
Not all the time. If I go camping.
He's not going camping.
Yeah. Well,
those days are over, man.
Actually, you know what? You're probably right because I did all the camping I care to do in a very dusty, very hot place. I still like the idea of camping. Like I keep saying I'm gonna go camping with my daughter, and then I think about like actually going camping. I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do that. It's gonna suck.
What are we drinking tonight?
I am drinking some hillbilly Gatorade out of my Papa Didn't Raise No Commie cup.
Wow.
It's a Miller Lite tonight, gentlemen.
He's like a walking stereotype.
I know, I like it because then everyone else underestimates me. Elliot Williamson said the same thing. I was like, I like to be underestimated. And then when I start talking to somebody, especially like when I go to a show and I'm wearing like a Jack Daniels Wrangler shirt from when I rode rodeo for a season or two and stuff like that. And I go and they look at me and I'm wearing like this hat. I'm all like cowboy boots. And then I start speaking Japanese to the Japanese knife makers. And everybody's like, what the fuck just happened? Did I have a stroke? Because I lived in Japan for 13 years. My wife is Japanese. I speak Japanese. And it just throws them for a loop. Like I go up and I was talking to this guy at a knife show and he was talking about their knives. It's a Japanese company. And I saw where they were from and I was speaking to him. I was like, oh yeah, my wife's from this town over here like this. And I was speaking in Japanese and there's like 3 people on either side of me going, look at this shit. I like being underestimated. Makes it easier.
That's good. I wasn't underestimating it, but
I have a question.
I'm drinking a Monster right now just because I needed to caffeinate.
I drank a big glass of coffee that was left over from this morning. If you had seen it, I was just poured cold coffee into a glass and was drinking it.
I have a caffeine problem.
I do too. Okay, so I ask everybody about this because I want to see if everybody, like Nick Shabazz and I were like pretty much on the same page. Overrated companies and underrated companies. What do you think is the most overrated company currently right now making knives and the most underrated company?
Mike, this is a loaded question. You want me to say certain?
No, you can say whatever you want. I'm just curious what everyone else is in the knife world is thinking about.
You want me to tell you that Spyderco is an overrated company? That's what you want me to say?
No, you don't have to. I already know it. But I mean, like, what companies do you think? I'm not trying to get you to agree with me. I'm just saying Nick and I kind of were pretty much on the same page. I'm not saying you have to be. I'm just curious.
Well, what did Nick say?
Nick had said there was a couple companies that he was talking about that were underrated that I hadn't put that
he was talking about okay, well, don't tell me his underrated. Don't tell me his underrated companies. I want to know what his overrated companies
are. We both agreed Spyderco and Benchmade. I think he had said something about ZT, but his reasons was a little bit different than mine. His was that Spyderco really hasn't done anything with their catalog this year. They've added nothing new. They're basically just sticking with.
Are we basing it on their current catalog or past decade?
I'm basing it on quality,
because that's
quality and value versus price is how I usually do it.
That's fair. As far as overrated companies, I mean, you could put any of like the big 3 in there and find a valid argument for any of them. I still think Benchmade makes an overall, like, most of their catalog is pretty bad. For the money that you spend, pretty bad. They're passable, like, you know what I mean? I can see the appeal of some of them, but in terms of competing with stuff that's out there, it doesn't. It just doesn't.
But I mean, I'm conflicted when I say that about Benchmade because one of my favorite knives ever.
I mean, the 940 is the Benchmade 940 is literally one of the top. I mean, this goes without saying. They're the top 3 for a reason. They make some of the most legendary knives of all time. But if we're talking about current catalog and where they stand and why I think they're overrated, the current catalog doesn't hold up, and Benchmade is probably at the top of that list. ZT used to be the golden child of American manufacturing. They were carrying the torch for innovation and modern design and bringing new designers to the forefront and USA made product. That has fallen to the wayside as well, and we get very mediocre product for the price. So
and I haven't seen them innovate and make anything new for. I mean, they're just basically, as a matter of fact, they brought back some of their older models. I think you and I talked about this in a DM string on Instagram. We were talking about the what was that? The 300, the ZT 0300, the great big Strider design, that great big monster of a one with the black blade.
We were just talking about like my first knife over 100. I guess it was my first knife over 150 or 100 was the ZT 0350, which they still have the audacity to sell. They still produce that knife and sell it for close to $200.
That is such an ugly knife too. And I had the 0300, which is, I mean, it's basically the same knife. I forget what was different about the 0300.
The 300 was a full size.
Yeah, I had the full size,
and the 350 was a little guy with liner lock and G10.
That's what it was. Mine was the one with that Ken Onion auto
speed safe. Yeah,
speed safe. The speed safe, Ken Onion speed safe, which was a
torsion bar.
It was ridiculous.
Anyway, that was my first knife over 150 or 150 bucks. But they still make that knife. ZT is resting on their laurels. I can't deal with that. I think Spyderco is probably the best of those. Of those three, they're the best.
I mean, Spyderco has models that I would buy at this point. Like as much as I like this knife, I've said this before. I could not, at the price point, even though I have this now. This was a gift. Like this was a gift. The only reason I have this is someone.
You've mentioned that every video I've seen you pull that out at you.
So I love the knife, but I couldn't justify buying it. I have bought Spydercos.
Yeah.
So I can say
all the time, man. And I bought I just bought a 940 not too long ago. They did the titanium one in all black. I love a matriarch.
Yeah. I got it from a wife. She won't carry it.
I got one of those too. I got a lot of Spydercos. I have cases just dedicated to Spydercos. I don't know. I just think that Spyderco's philosophy has stayed pretty much the same. They're very good working knives. Like they cut stuff. You know?
Yeah, I mean they do, but then like I get upset because they've went, and I was afraid that TRM was going to do something when I saw the Atom and they had all the multicolor scales and you could buy this, like collect them all, and I say that like Spyderco.
That's business though. I don't find that to be.
I know, but I was like, why? Like I just get frustrated because
the Atom either. But
no, the Shadow is amazing. I love the TRM Shadow. Like that's my number one knife for 2021 right now. That's the number one that's come in. So underrated companies.
There's a lot out there actually. In terms of Real Steel puts out some bangers, man. They have some really good high-end production knives that just fly under the radar. And even some of their like entry-level stuff, they have some misses too, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, they do some really good work. In terms of like other, foreign OEM stuff, QSP. They're their own OEM, so they make their own stuff. I actually find them to be above Kaiser, above what's the other one? The one that does all the ugly knives, but they're really nice people.
You're talking about Artisan?
Yeah, that's the one.
You mean the ones that make my fixed blade?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, yours is a shining beacon of design purity. You
say that. I like this one. Like this one actually.
That one's not that. That's not that bad.
I like this one, but you're right. They do, but they make some other. I have to say that, like, now that you mention it, like CJRB and Artisan.
That's barely a design at all.
I love this knife right here. This thing.
I've heard that's good. I haven't. Really admittedly, I don't own that one, but I hear it.
So my knife is the shining star in a sea of darkness.
Right. Let's see. Well, there's a lot of stuff out there that I like. Some of the we did an interview with. Oh my God, my brain. Holy crap. Tactile Knife Co. You know, Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I just can't. Yeah, I can't either. I can't remember.
I'd say, you know, even
I'm
if you
almost
don't
50
like,
and I'm almost 50 and I've had a lot of head trauma. I forget things. I forget people's names and shit.
well, they were the pen company. They make a lot of pens. But now they've also pivoted to knives. They're just a really cool group of guys that are huge knife enthusiasts, and they are the ray of hope for American manufacturing right now.
There's a couple. There's some guys
Yeah.
here in California that are doing now. They're doing OEM. I'm not gonna say it's not a good knife. I don't like the design, but Hephaestus Machine Works or Hephaestus Metalworks. Hephaestus being the Greek god of metalworkers, which I dig because I love mythology. But they do some great machine. They've done some machining for my buddy Chris over at Cerberus Knives. He's done some fixed blade versions of the Arian. That's a different name, but they do some really, really good machining, and it's not that expensive. I was looking at the price. I have a knife that we're trying to get released through Ready Man Group, Jeff Kirkham. And I've been talking about it. We're looking at OEM prices. And while they are really, really low on the spectrum of what I would expect to pay, it's still above what Jeff wants to, is comfortable putting.
Fixed blades, though, right?
Yeah. It's a light hiker's knife. It's got a milled slot in the handle so you can crisscross. And what we were planning on doing was it's going to be a cord wrap thing. So then you could wrap it with like fire cord and things like that.
Yeah. It's another ball game. You know, as well as I do, Mike, like it's another ball game when you start getting into folders, like, you know, high tolerance.
Yeah.
Titanium frame lock folders and things.
Well,
like
these guys are making folders. They're making their own. And like I said,
sure.
I don't like the design per se. It's not a design that I would purchase because I just don't like the aesthetics of it. But as far as the machining and everything and the fit up and the finish, it's there. Those guys know what they're doing.
When you're done, and
the only place I've seen them right now is on Instagram. But they did a bunch of pry bars. 3V pry bars for my buddy Cerberus Knives. But when you look at the micro, when you look at the micro milling and everything on them, they look really good.
Pry bars, but I have them. I've acquired pry bars. I don't think I've ever bought a pry bar.
I haven't either. But I have one around here somewhere.
I've acquired pry bars, and I got something that came in like an actual crate. You know, like a nailed down crate the other day.
Yeah.
And I had to use the freaking pry bar.
You know, the one that I really want to see, and it's funny because it's so over the top. Have you seen Arcane Knives?
Yeah.
Azrael's got that.
Israel.
He calls it a space bar. And I've never been excited about seeing a pry bar, but I saw that and I was like, I really kind of want to see one of those.
You did say you had head trauma, so
yeah, this is true. I've been in rollover car accidents before too. So
no, I'm just kidding. I like that.
It's a good looking pry bar, and Israel's such a nice dude. It's interesting. It looks so much different than anything else.
Someone gave you $5.
I see that.
Like ring something.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually
get with it, old man.
Well, I'm gonna get an actual like cowbell or something. Somebody said they were sending me one, and I don't know if I should wait on it. So. But yeah, pry bars, that wasn't ever anything I thought. But then again, come on, think about it. When you were younger, was having a flashlight in your pocket at all times something you ever thought you would have? Because I didn't, and now I'm in my pajamas.
Now you get to charge the flashlight in your pocket when you go camping.
I don't have to. I've got several different flashlights that I could take. I'm an Olight affiliate. I give them away on my YouTube channel.
I think literally everyone I know is an Olight affiliate. I just want you to know that.
Do they get free stuff?
They get free stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's just another.
I don't know. I don't think I know anyone that's actually paid for an Olight.
Oh no, I bought a couple. I have one of the small ones, one of the little AAA ones.
I
bought one.
I'm just messing with you.
Maurice.
Let me check out these comments. Things are happening here.
Yeah. Somnio, I didn't even really notice this. I saw he was here and I brought it up. Of course, 3.5 is the magic number. It's just personally larger. But if you measure 3.5 inches at my house, that's 7.
I get it.
Yes, thank you, Maurice. I appreciate it. All you guys that donate to the channel, you guys make it possible for me to do this stuff. You bought the software I'm currently using. So I bought a mini Olight like 5 years for like $5 5 years ago.
Sounds like a good deal.
I do have to say, like, I know we don't talk about pew-pews on the channel very much, but I have 2 of the Olight pew-pew lights for
I
on
have
the rail.
2 of them as well.
Those are really, really nice. I have one that has the laser in it. It's the Balder Mini. And I've had lasers before. And when you take it to the range, you have to keep adjusting it. And that's the only one I've had so far that, like, once you set it, it was on.
I
did not
actually
waver.
tell my friends all the time they spend their money on the, what do you call it, the Surefire or whatever they are. I'm like, don't buy that.
Don't buy that. Don't buy that. Get an Olight.
Yeah. I do tell them to buy the Olight one.
Yeah, the Olight one.
Buy them from one of the many affiliates that I know.
One of the numerous affiliates.
Yeah.
What is your favorite knife currently?
Ooh. That VC Edge is very up there, but I have a couple. Can I show a couple?
Yeah, sure. If you got a tie.
Let's see. I'm currently slinging a bunch of Russian stuff, so I've been.
I saw that. I love that one. I've told you that before. Yes, I love that knife. I want to get one in for review so bad. You need to send me one for review.
I don't have any in stock right now, but I'm doing some pre-orders and I may order some extras. If I do have some extras, I'll send you one. But
just keep in mind, like I said, I'm the same as Nick. If you send me something, even if we're friends and even if it's something you're terribly in love with, if I don't like it, it'll get a bad review.
Do I look like someone who cares?
Nope, you don't. That's Mike, click the button that shows full screen. There we go. That thing is bad looking. I love that.
It's Ivan Bragenitz. He's a good friend of mine. Really good designer from the Ukraine. You probably have handled or seen a knife that he's designed. The Real Steel Rocket, which is honestly an incredible knife for the money. I think that's still one of the best values out there on the knife in the knife world. I sell several exclusive versions of them on my website.
I have handled that knife, and you are absolutely right. That is a great knife, and I did not know that was the designer, the same designer.
Yeah, so the same designer. There are 2 knives in these Crystal Knives. That's KRISTAL. I import these. These are a Russian exclusive brand. And this bronze one here, these are normally like all just gray, but they did 8 of these for the people who sell these knives, and this is number 8 of 8.
Nice.
So nice. Yes. But he has a couple of designs with them. These are getting really limited. They're all numbered 150 out of 150 or something. These are down to the wire here. These are the bronze Horsemen's here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I do like
they're really thin and slicey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What's the blade stock thickness on that? I mean, I know you probably don't like.
I don't know off the top of my head. I do have it listed on the site though. I did put it up there.
That looks nice and thin.
It's pretty damn thin, man.
Well, and I've made that complete.
And
I've made that complete 180 on.
It's basically a full flat. So
yes,
you can see I put some
use
on this guy.
But
I carry a lot of those.
I've made that transition from I like the big overbuilt thick blade knives.
Oh, yeah.
Now I've made that complete 180. Like, if it's got to be a little thinner.
And this is the value version. I say value. These are about $100, a little under. I'll be getting a bunch of these, the last round of these in. But these are micarta handles with an inset liner. Same OEM. Another Ivan Bragenitz design. Front flipper.
I've started to get into. There were so many liner locks that just were not great for so long.
For the money, like the way these things are ground, like machined, are so nice. Yeah, I compare them to Shiros, like the way that they're ground. The geometry is just so nice.
Well, that's another brand that I have a tendency to think that Shiros are a little overrated. They're nice. Don't get me wrong. They're nice, but are they $900 nice? I don't think so.
It's a whole other ball game, man. Whole other ball game.
I will say that my buddy has a Neon, and it has the new bearing system in it. So it's in a race, but they're not in the race. They're not locked in. So if you take it out, you have to.
Shiro Groves have never been.
They've never been. I see. I guess maybe I just never taken one apart, but this.
No.
So I
You're
got
talking out of your ass, Michael. Don't do
Well,
it.
I've never really had one that I took apart. Like I've never anoded
Don't
one
take
or
them
anything.
apart because you will have balls all over the place.
I take everything apart. I did IKBS. I've done so many knives in IKBS, taken apart.
These run on the multi-row bearings, but they're all just individually set into little grooves.
Yeah.
Shirogorov has basically 4 different bearing levels: single row regular bearings, multi-row regular bearings, single row needle bearings, multi-row needle bearings.
His were like the multi-row regular bearings.
Yes,
but
that's what most of these are.
Whoever he bought that from had used something in it, like some sort of grease, and it got gummed up. We basically had to take it apart.
Yeah,
and so I took it apart. He was like, "Oh, those bearings are going everywhere." I was like, "I got it." We did it in a little tray, and I put it all back together. He's like, "For a big guy with big hands, you get this really delicate." And I'm like in there putting them back in with a pair of tweezers. I was like, "Yeah, I did IKBS a couple times before I knew what IKBS was. You just take the knife apart. I wasn't paying attention."
This one has the roller bearings.
Now, which is smoother? Because I've never seen one with the
roller bearings. It's really, I mean, come on here. We're arguing. It's the science behind it is that the roller bearings take up more surface area, so technically it's a little smoother. You can tell, but does it really make a difference? Maybe. These are. I think these are on the needle bearings too.
I'll tell you, the knife that I wish I could afford. I'm pretty much like I'm done buying knives. Like I bought that. I have now got pretty much all of my Grail knives. There's one of them I knew I probably would never get, which is the Rockstead Shin. I was like, yeah, I'm probably never getting that knife. But I always wanted a Ferrum Forge. I had like 3 knives that I said 2 knives I said I had to have before I died, and 1 knife that it was like, I kind of want it. My Ferrum Forge Fortis, and in that specific blade finish. I wanted that. My Norseman, and those were my 2. And like once I got the Norseman, I had this one. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Like I was telling Somnion, I can honestly say like I could probably get rid of half the knives that are in my case and not feel bad about it, because I have the 2 that really, really matter. This one was a gift, and the other one I bought. So
here's a weird one. Have you guys seen these?
That's weird.
It's very weird. What's
that one?
The Winter Blade Co. Factor. So this is a custom, but he has this guy is a mad scientist. The other thing, just like that JVC, what do you call it?
Edge.
The Factor.
The Factor.
Yeah, the VC Edge Factor. Like those are engineering minds. That's the kind of knife maker I like to collect too.
Yeah.
This guy is in that same category. Brian Winters is his name. Winter Blade Co.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys can see, but it's a very strange mechanism.
Is that fat carbon?
Yes, but that is literally the least interesting thing about this stuff. So the way it works is there's spring tension coming from here. There is a pin set in this side here. There are magnets in here that are the D10s.
I heard somebody talking about this. Okay, I'm listening.
You have a lever system that's right over here. Excuse me. The lever, I can't show it because it's on this side. But what you do is you push down on the lever, and that lever defeats the magnet and flips the as the blade rotates, the magnet, the pole changes and grabs the blade again and pulls it into position here. And the pin goes into a hole in the blade. So, and then you push basically like a paramilitary too. It's
like a compression lock.
Yes, yeah. But it's not going up against a lock face.
It's just disengaging the magnet.
It's a pin physically inset in the blade.
Oh, okay.
You see right in
I see it
area here.
Mm-hmm.
So when I push that, let's see if I can show you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
That is really neat. I forget who I heard talking about it, and it was on a podcast. It might have been you.
Yeah, I was talking about Nick. I think Nick has one too.
I would remember if I saw Nick, because I would have watched it. But
yeah, I mean, he's you know, you got to follow just Winter Blade Co. Just he's going to drop a production run, and it's going to be one of those ones where like, oh, I missed the drop. Don't miss the drop. You heard it here. You're gonna
don't miss the drop.
You're gonna go watch it and be like, oh, I know about that now.
Duke says, Sinister Knife Clip says, like a button lock on crack.
It's like it's more
there
like.
You go. Thank you, Samuel. 19 people here and 19 likes and 42 people watching. Hit that like button. I can't see how many likes there are. I got to rely on other people.
Little updates.
So, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, okay. I had a good question because I know that you've got a lot of knives. So, a knife that is currently discontinued that you would like to see brought back.
Ooh,
yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good question. One of my favorite knives, because you were going to ask me a question earlier about knives that I sold and wish I still.
Yeah,
had.
that's a knife that you got rid of that wish you still had.
So basically, I reacquired a knife. The only knife that I've ever sold and missed was my Hawk Knives, Hawk Serge Orbit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I reacquired one, and that knife is just intoxicating. The action is so good. Again, it's one of these knives that, has a hawk lock. It has a really cool Serge design. Those are two of my favorite people in the entire knife world, though. By the way, Gavin Hawk and Serge Panchenko.
I love Serge Panchenko. I got one of his. What was it? The Bean.
Bean.
I got one in one time, and I didn't get a chance to shoot a video. Yeah, and it was, and I was like, wow, that's not like. I was like, that's not like a knife I would carry, but I can really appreciate the fact of like the work that went into thinking of how this thing goes together.
Mm-hmm. And it works. You know what I mean?
The Hawk Mud. I had a Hawk Mud in.
The Mud is cool.
And it was videos that I tried to shoot. They just never came out right. And so I just trashed it after it came in for sharpening. I tried to shoot a video, and that was back when I was really just starting the channel and didn't know how to edit properly. And like, I got done and I'm like, that video's crap. And just threw it away.
I had the Mud, the manual one, and I do miss it, but I have a couple of Hawk Knives, and I have the Orbit, I have the Deadlock, I've got a Beetle. And between those, like, I don't really miss my Mud too much, but I kind of still want one. And so I guess that's still one that I would want to have back. But I would like to see the Orbit come back. Anything with the Hawk Lock, I think, would be a hit.
Do you remember the Vanoy snap lock, that CRKT, that side one that pops open?
Oh yeah,
I have one of those. I'm doing that as a giveaway because it's completely unsafe and I'm gonna hurt myself with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that didn't have the best reputation.
It did not.
I wasn't sure if you wanted me to say that or not.
No, I'm giving it to these guys. Let them have to go to the. I get stitches enough that the lady, there's a nurse practitioner at the emergency room at Balboa Naval Hospital, and I get stitches often enough that I walk in and she goes, "Oh, what did we do this time, Mr. Emler?" I was like, "How are you always on duty when I hurt myself?"
Do your listeners like love these stories? I can't imagine this is the first time you've told this story.
Oh, that one, yeah. I think that's the first time I've told that one. Well, in a podcast, probably in a live feed. I may have.
Sounds made up.
What is this? What hinderer are you looking for? Oh, I think there's a side conversation going on.
Oh, somebody's trying to sell a hinderer.
I honestly can't think of a knife that is discontinued that I would want to have brought back because I owned it and want to own it again.
My motto is there's always another knife, so it doesn't really
exactly. And so I get so, like, if you could see it, I have a 7-foot shelf that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bins in it, and 6 of those are full of knives that are in either for review and for sharpening, in because I'm giving them away. I get so many knives and I'm like, I can't honestly think of one that's discontinued except for one, just a goofy one. Do you remember that Cold Steel ring lock?
Why are you bringing up all this stupid stuff that nobody wants?
No one wants it. And I'm like, I just kind of want one again. I had one and it was the one that had like the little deer on it. I can't remember what it was, the Impala or whatever it was, but it was a little, like the little South African ring lock. And I was like, yeah, I had one of those. Wish I still had one. That's the only thing I could come up with off the top of my head that I miss.
I think those are knives that appeal to people in your age bracket.
Right. Cause I'm old. Like,
yeah.
I wake up in the morning. I feel like I was in a car crash. Like, what was I dreaming about? I have a question. We're gonna
sell basic XM18s in the
say what
in the chat. They're like, this guy wants a non-flipper XM18. That's the only hinderer I actually have right now. Is a non-flipper. What is it? Spear point Fuller.
Is it just the thumb stud one, not the?
Yeah, it's a thumb stud, no flipper tab, working finish with the Fuller on it. It's pretty cool. It's a good looking. I think I'm a little biased, but I think it's the best looking.
I'm
not really a big fire guy, but that's the one. The fire tack's a good knife.
I have a fire tack here that's in, and I'm gonna do a review of it. I have so much stuff I was gonna get through. Jeremy, I know you want your knife back, but I mess with it, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I really like it. I'm not 100% sure if I like it. It's a good knife. I'm just like, do I really like it? And I think the thing is, it's so much different than every other hinderer. I'm trying to wrap my head around it being so much different than any other hinderer I've ever handled. That's what they're asking.
They're asking if they can see that hinderer. The knife you seek is in a different case. That is downstairs, and I am not getting it. It's on my Instagram. It's all working finish. It has a burgundy, my Carter scale.
I think
Metal Complex was supposed to source me a titanium scale, but he's actually hoarding them all. So if you guys give him some shit for me, can I say that? I'll just say that.
Yeah, go ahead. We're way past that. Usually, it's in the first 30 seconds. If you can get past the first 30 seconds without a hard F-bomb and the first 3 minutes,
is actively hoarding XM18 scales, and he won't give me one. I can go get one of my own through my own sources, but this is a friend denying a friend an XM18 scale. I just want a working finish, plain scale. It's not that, It's for my one hinderer knife. That's it. But remind me, I'll post it later.
Yeah, I think you already posted. I remember seeing it, and that's why I was asking if it's just the one with the thumb study, the thumb stud.
Because I feel like flippers on hinderers have always been sort of decorative anyway. It used to be.
I was gonna say
Rick Hinderer used to actively tell you that it was never meant to be a flipper. It was meant so you could get it to open halfway, and then you could open it in a
with gloves, because he was a firefighter, so it was dealing with the big gloves. I told the story. I think I did it with Jake, where I bought one on the secondary market. I paid a ton for it, and I went to flip it. I was like, what the. Like, you have to really just even a big guy like me, I had to throw some wrist into to get it to pop open. I was like,
let me just put it this way. The hinderers used to be pretty much garbage.
Yeah, they were. And I paid like $900 for it.
You're giving me crap about these beautifully machined, expertly executed Shirogorovs for $800-900, and you're talking about $700.
No, I
for what people used to pay for those hinderers.
Right, I know.
Oh
I know.
God.
I did, and I'm not saying that the Shiros aren't great knives. I just for me, but then again, I'm the one sitting here with a fucking $1,200 knife.
Norseman.
I'm sitting here with a knife that looks like an angry pelican.
Oh my God.
But I mean, I really do love it's really functional for the things.
But I will continue to give you hell about it.
Oh yeah, go ahead. It's fine. Okay, so the Franken knife question. Do you have enough caffeine in you for the Franken knife question?
Let's find out.
Okay, so the Franken knife question I ask everybody. Knife makers, I hold them to a little bit different standard, but like, if you could just think about, like, you don't have to try and figure out like the mathematics of pigeonholing everything together and shoehorning it all together, but any blade from any knife in any handle from any knife with any locking mechanism in any material, and yeah, that's basically it. So you basically can take all the knives that you know. Try and
half the things I like wouldn't physically work together.
Well, they don't. You don't. I mean, theoretically, none of this would ever work, because I would put a Reat Horizon D blade in a Spyderco Endura handle, because that's like one of the most ergonomic handles out there. Right? See, you made a face like you just ate something bitter.
This is a nonsensical question.
It is, but like, what would be the perfect knife?
I would like to have a titanium Hawklock with Brian Nadeau's detent and a Spyderco paramilitary 2 blade.
There you go. So you just answered a question. That's like, like, you don't have to. It doesn't have to like.
Why did I agree to do this?
Oh, guys,
what else is in your notes?
There's a couple other things. Well, you already answered. What's your favorite designer? Is who was it again? From Crystal Knives.
He's not my favorite designer. He's a friend. I mean, my favorite maker is Lee Lerman.
Okay.
Lerman, he's definitely up there for me. I'm lucky enough to own 2 of his knives.
Wow.
Amazing. Like, and he's like one of these guys that builds knives by hand, but they're to a Shirogorov level of precision, you know?
So MC said, feel bad for Emler. Tomatoes are coming to the front of the mob.
Not quick enough.
Bear growl. So that's your favorite, Lee Lerman.
That's my favorite knife maker, designer. I mean, I love Liang Ma. Like, I like his just his style. Like, I always think his stuff is distinct, you know.
Yeah.
And he's just a lovely person too. And
Larry, I love Larry. I was DMing with him here a little bit, just a couple weeks ago. I was talking with him. I was trying to see if he was coming to the Blade Show West, and he didn't answer me yet.
Anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
But he has some great new designs. He's always got something going.
Yeah, he does. And his stuff is always like, you can always pick one out of a lineup, but they're always distinctly different enough.
And you know what I like about his designs is they pay tribute to, history, knife history, while still being distinctly his own. I think that's a very profound thing about Liang Ma's designs.
There's because not just because I'm friends with him.
Not many people really get that, but
Elliot Williamson's another one of those makers that can make a completely different knife. Like the knives are so different, but you can still look at it and go, yeah, that's a Ferrum Forge design. That's an Elliot Williamson design right there. Regardless now how far they are removed from each other, you can look at it and go, yeah, there's some distinct design aesthetics there that you see, design cues that you see across all the knives.
I could agree with that.
So I don't know if I remember telling Jake about this. Technically, I was on the Knife Nuts podcast.
Yeah,
because I was sitting in Elliot's office drinking a beer.
They were on very early.
Like, yeah, they were one of your first guests.
Yeah, I think they were our first guests. Well, if you don't count Brian, because Brian was like our fake first guest. We're like, well, he's our guest on the show. Oh, he's also a host. Yeah,
he's so angry. I want to get him on here, but I know that like Brian and I.
Oh my god! And you think everybody talks about it? That's just Brian, man.
No, that's what everybody's like. Why is Brian so angry? I was like, because he's from fucking New Jersey.
Yeah, but let me tell you, like, he is a sweet man. He really is. He genuinely has a giant heart, but
I haven't talked to him in a while.
Very prickly on the outside.
Yeah, he's like was it like a jackfruit? Like, yeah, he's all prickly.
I actually sent him one of those. he got really excited the other day because he doesn't get too many knives. I sent him one of those, that crystal knife.
Oh yeah,
one of those. Yeah, he loves that thing.
yeah. I remember at one point he was the only knife maker I knew that didn't carry a knife.
I mean, I didn't mention him already because I feel like what is there to say? But to me, he's in my. I have Lee Lerman and Brian's like one of my best friends, so it's weird for me to say it, but.
Well, and I was gonna kind of disqualify Brian. I was
Brian,
like, I do believe on the paper, I wrote besides Brian on the paper when you were talking about your favorite, but I figured you'd kind of like.
And you know what? I just realized there's another underrated. There's a lot of like micro brands out there, like people who design knives or have made knives but have production lines out there. Mm-hmm. Adam Purvis, he's a good friend of mine, and he has not had a stinker.
You guys have had a couple of exclusives through the Knife Nut podcast, right?
Yeah, Adam is a friend of mine, so it's easy to do exclusives with him. And we have another one coming.
Really?
But all his knives are great. I love all of his designs. And once they go
in for sharpening. Yeah, I've had a few in for sharpening.
The Xerxes definitely.
Yeah, I was like, that's the one I was thinking of. The Xerxes is where'd it go? God damn it.
Yeah.
Sometimes
the Primordial Mark
scroll
III,
up too fast. Yeah, I like that one. I had a couple of those come in for sharpening. I'm like, that's good.
Do I have one in here? Hold on. I might have one.
His so Somnium says his new Primordial Mark V is.
It's Mark III, but yeah, this is the new Liang Mai that I got. New Lanny 1 or L1. Yeah. But I think, do I have one of Adams in here?
The Lanny, I haven't got to see one, but I haven't got to see one in person, but I've gotten to see them just online and in other people's videos. I was like, that Lanny looks like a good, solid, all around, just good work knife.
This is the Primordial Mark III.
That is sexy.
Isn't that a sexy knife?
I love that I love the great big aperture on the spine.
Yeah. And it just balances it out because, like, look at how much blade to handle there is there. That's like a mark of a good design for me. It may not necessarily, it doesn't always translate to it being like the best usable knife in the world. But to me, I want as much blade as I can possibly get. And this is it looks almost like you cannot fold into that hand.
That was the first thing that struck me about the first knife that I handled of Elliott's was the NTAC. And that was one of the things I was like, why does it look like there's more blade than there is handle for it to go into? Like, how are you going to get that in there? And that's what really got me into that, like almost 1-to-1 blade to handle ratio, which that's when I really realized that I was like, oh, I like symmetry. I didn't realize how much I like symmetry until I would get knives in that you got that great big handle and then a little blade. And I'm like, well, that just looks dumb. I don't like that. So, but no, that's a good looking knife. I like what was the one you guys had that
Mark
was the
V? I was thinking of the Supra.
Yeah. the one that you guys did a couple years ago for the Knife Nuts podcast. And I can't remember which one it was, and I wanted to get one. I didn't have the money at the time. It was a Purvis that you guys did. Was it like 2 years ago?
Primordial Mark II. The one with
that might have been what it was.
The one with the mirror stonewash blade.
Yes, yeah, that's the one. That's exactly the one.
Yeah, I like that one. The new one's going to have a mirror stonewash blade too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You're making me want to spend money that I'm not allowed to. Especially considering this is my job, and you don't know if you know YouTube doesn't pay you very much.
Yeah, that's why I barely use YouTube.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's what I got, but hey, I mean, it's working out. People seem to be enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I know that you guys kind of shit on Artisan.
It's all in jet. It's basically just.
I know. That's like I guarantee there's people who are like, wow, like Levon's really giving Mike a hard time, but I 100% understand the humor in that. But so have you tried out the AR RPM 9 steel? Other than when I sent you guys, I think was it you I sent the sea snake to, or was that
it was you? Yeah. No, you did. That was a very cool knife. I loved how thin that blade was. You could almost bend it.
Yeah, you can't. I have
Yeah.
had so many people like, why is it like you can't do anything with this? I was like, you can
No,
do exactly what it was
you can do a
designed
lot
to
of it. You
do.
can do a lot with it. At least
Everything
like
I
for what
designed
I
it to
want to do
do.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if
Yeah.
you're thinking that you're gonna pry something fucking open with it,
I'm not
no,
gonna
it's not
cut
gonna
through a
do that.
house
You're
with it.
an idiot.
But I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I was just curious how you thought about the steel.
I didn't play with the steel.
You didn't really play with the steel. I really like it because
I didn't play with the steel.
I didn't play with it. So what is your favorite steel right now? Like, I mean, because they keep coming up with new steels or new variants and new additives. And
dude, I am so boring. Like, I can say I have all of these knives, but like if the knives that I use, like generally are like S30V is like probably the craziest thing that I use all the time. I love S30V. I think S30V is like probably the best knife steel there is. I've had really good S30V is fantastic, especially when heat treated properly. What else? I also like Maximate is surprisingly great. Like of all the crazy super steels that I've used that kind of live up to the hype, Maximate's definitely been up there for me.
They're all waiting on this. So everything he just said, you shouldn't say out loud because I 100% disagree with both of those things he just said.
Well, I've had good experiences with both of those things.
I sharpened. The whole problem is as a sharpener.
Well, okay, I agree
Maximate.
As someone
Maximate's
who's using
horrible.
Well, God, the thing is, you have to do it once a year, and you never have to do it again.
And I got it with like the guys that gave me a hard time about the fact I said I wouldn't ever sharpen it again. They're like, oh, you just don't know how to take. I was like, for me financially doing it as a business, getting paid to do it, like it costs me money to sharpen Maximate. I'm fucking shit up, and it takes.
No, that's a non-issue for me. I have a Jake.
You have a Jake. What's Jake use on his? So he has a Hapstone. He's using the diamond stones on it.
Yeah, correct. But I don't even think he basically has just touched it up a little bit as he goes. And I mean, he's put that stuff through its paces, and I have too. And I'm a believer in the Maximate stuff.
Now, I don't like the production version stuff. I'm friends with Sean Houston, Big Brown Bear.
Let me put an asterisk to this. I like Spider Coast Maximate.
Yeah, I don't see it. Like if you're a day-to-day guy and you're carrying it, like I don't like steels that you have to invest in an entire.
I mean, truthfully, it doesn't freaking matter. Just carry the knife that you want to carry. Yeah. Use it, and sharpen it appropriately. My favorite
steel to date is still S90V. Like I'm not such a.
So I like S90V, but I've had issues with the edge rolling all the time and it dulling faster than S30.
See, I've had problems with S30, and it's always been Benchmade S30. It's always been Benchmade S30.
I don't feel like
just chipping and chipping and chipping and chipping.
We should disqualify Benchmade from any steel testing whatsoever.
But their S90 is pretty.
Crewware is decent. I like Crewware too.
Yeah,
although Crewware is good, doesn't take not good for a fine edge, if I remember correctly.
It's one of those steels that's more like a high carbon steel that's not the powdered metallurgy. So what you get is like when you're in a 14C,
good working edge and you keep it on there and it just stays. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you get is they're not the super fine carbides like you get in like a CPM, like a powdered metallurgy.
If I remember correctly, and I might just be tired, I remember comparing and speaking to Jake about this, but I think we compared Maximate to being somewhere in the same realm in terms of performance, at least the perceived performance to Crewware, to a very similar level.
Crewware does a pretty good job. It's a lot easier. Like Crewware is way easier to
sharpen. I don't remember it holding an edge nearly as long as Maximate.
No, well, Maximate's not going to. I mean, Maximate's going to beat everything when you look at how much tungsten carbide is in it. Like it's right. It's somewhere between 13 and 17% tungsten carbide in that. I was like, it was originally designed for for the cutting industry for like end mills where you could resharpen them, because you can't resharpen carbide end mills.
Sure.
So it got you close enough to, a full tungsten carbide
It's
bit.
a tool steel.
It's a tool steel.
Yes.
But yeah, Diamond Stones make sharpening max at a pretty standard operating.
SM100, to be honest with you.
That no one really has. There's not that many out there. I have one currently here from one of my followers that is in for sharpening. It's SM100, and it's because it's tricky to sharpen
for like custom knife. Like all this stuff is like really designery things too. I like ABL, like some basic bitch stuff like Nitro V when done right, like heat treated properly. I think is a really great working steel.
I like 420.
420
if it's a good heat treat, like on a buck 119. I mean that's a really, really good steel.
Is that the plastic handled one? Is that what what's
it's not plastic. It's plastic. It's the epoxy, the black epoxy.
Oh, that's that one. Yeah.
That's it's the one that looks like a Bowie knife. It's got the sharp end, the S119.
And then what's the folding one, the 110 with the plastic handles? I actually use one of those with some garbage steel.
It's I actually, if you want the truth, I think those are an S30.
No,
S30.
Let me tell you something that it isn't, and it is not S30.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you like
at a gift shop at an Amish buffet. It is not S30V.
I can't remember. I know what you're talking about. It looks like the Buck 110, but it's got the plastic handles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Honestly,
they're like what are they, like 20, 25 bucks?
It was like 20. I got it for $20 or something. I was
like 19. There's somewhere between 19 and 25 bucks.
Knife that just lives like somewhere in the living room at all times.
It's in the glove box of the car after
my house knife. I always had a house knife. It used to be the Cold Steel Talwar XL.
Just in case you have to go into battle with a two-handed.
John Gray of John Gray Knives was at my house at one point, and he was like, "Oh, it's dull." So he turned over one of my IKEA dinner plates and started sharpening. He used the dinner plate.
You can get a screaming edge on a coffee cup or a bolt.
It worked because it was an older cold steel.
Yeah, that's a huge knife too. That thing's a monster.
Dude, I still have it, and I think it's sweet. It's over there.
I sharpened a cold steel Vaquero, the great big folder, the XL Vaquero XL. Is it the Vaquero? What was the one with the weird, like it was like this fucking big, and I had a guy sharpen, and I sharpened it on 1 inch wide edge pro stones, and my buddy was watching me do it, and he goes, that's not fucking normal. Like, you're gonna cut, and I didn't cut myself. It was like screaming sharp when I got done. Those things were a monster.
Would you say it was CrazySharp?
Yeah, it was. It was definitely was. I'm trying to see if I have any more pictures.
Gotta hope.
Oh, knife that you thought you would hate, but in the end you were like, that's pretty all right.
I know I have an answer for this because it does happen. I am delighted. Oh, it happened to me recently.
Bing, bang, bang. I think we found it.
This thing.
Hang on a second. I'm going to give you full screen.
Sandstorm.
Wow.
So it's a gigantic integral.
I say that's a beast.
It's a gigantic integral by Chinese manufacturer Maxace, designed by Midnight Cat Studios. These names are so great, but it is enormous.
Jesus.
Incredible.
That's the shit. That's the shit that Lynn Thompson dreams about while he's sleeping. He's like, someone's making this somewhere.
I mean, it's a full titanium integral, and just to show you, like, it's silly. Think about it. If Cold Steel made like titanium integrals, you can take this little titanium nubbin screw. Let me see if I can get it.
Oh no! Is that the lock pin?
Yes. So you can take this little lock pin out.
Yeah. Because that's That's not time consuming or anything.
And then now, just so you can get ready to advance knife bro.
I was gonna say, like, you can advance knife bro it.
Now you're ready to advance knife bro.
Just in case you have to like cut some cinder blocks, destroy some shit.
Yeah, it's not a small knife. It's not a Talwar XL. It's not an XL Espada, but it's heavier than those. I mean but it's really, really well made. I am surprised.
I've gotten some of the MagSafe stuff.
Guys, guess what? I just tried to go unlock it, and guess what? I couldn't.
Because there's a pin in there.
Because there's a pin in there. No.
Knife Collector 41 says Hinderers are better. I would disagree.
Hinderer are better. Wow. What an original thought. Thank you for your input.
Well, I mean, that, like, if you go and you follow Brant's channel, which, by the way, Brant, I mentioned you in a video I did the other day. I think every video he's done is about a Hinderer.
Yeah.
And it's about 3 minutes long because that's about the limited time that you can keep saying nice things about Rick. I'm just kidding. I like Rick. He's a great dude.
I like
and his knives.
He invited me to go to his ranch to go shoot guns
out in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Was he just trying to get you to wear a target so he could shoot at you?
I don't know why he would.
I'm just kidding.
There's many more people that he'd shoot better than me.
Rick's knives have went 180 degrees. Like I said, my first one was they didn't flip. Newer ones that I've seen, they're great.
The whole industry has changed. Like by comparison, like any knives from that time period, like if you had to spend mucho money to get something that was half as nice as that MagSafe I just showed you. You know,
which kind of leads me to the question I was going to ask you, which is, what do you think the biggest change in the knife world has been? Because I know what mine is.
I mean, good China, like good manufacturing from China. I mean,
and I know that bothers a lot of people, but the fact
it is a point of contention, but it's also something that drives a lot of the industry now, and whether that's for better or for worse.
Because, well, like I said, I'm like 10 years older than you. So I remember with
actually, you didn't.
Well, yeah, it's true. Like you said, but I mean, well, it's a fact.
Right.
But like, I remember when there just were no good production knives. Like there really weren't. You had some every once in a while you'd come across one, but you had like your Opnels, you had your Swiss Army knives and then you had like just not like $10, $15 knives that were just the garbage knives. And if you wanted a good knife, you were getting a custom knife.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just all there was.
And 9 times out of 10, that custom knife wasn't all that hot either, but compared to what you had before. Yeah.
And then, like I said, and then Benchmade, Gerber, and a couple companies started, and they really did start, like Pacific Cutlery came out. Gerber used to be, I remember I had some really, really good Gerber knives. CRKT, when they first started, were making, they weren't super good, but they were way better than anything else.
It was literally a different company back then.
Yeah, I mean, they were doing really good knives. They weren't like anything. They weren't like super, super nice, but they were way better than what you were getting anywhere else. And then you had companies come up, and then ZT started, and then it just kind of stepped up the game. And then, but the custom knife makers really didn't kind of like try to step it up. And I hope they didn't miss their bubble. I mean, there's still some really good custom knife makers out there that are still doing really, really good work. Michael Raymond. Yeah,
there's no shortage of them. There's just the people that are. It's only the people that are loud that complain that there aren't. There's plenty of knife makers putting their heads down and doing great work.
Yeah, but I would say there's 2 knives that really changed the game for me. And one of them was an American-made production knife, and the other one was a Chinese-made one. And I have them both here. And it was the Microtech DOC, which was like a $410 knife that I was like, and it really, I bought
that knife when it came out too.
Mine did not have the really nasty clip. Mine's a 2015 version.
Oh God, they still made them up until that time.
Yeah. And so I got it, and I was like, wow, that is just an incredibly well-made knife. Does yours actually
cut anything?
Yeah, mine cuts stuff all the time. As a matter of fact, I actually ceramic coated mine.
Oh, that's cool, actually. No, I remember lusting after that knife when it debuted.
Did you get one of the ones that had the thick edge profile and it just
Oh
wouldn't
my
cut?
God, it was.
Now
So
mine's not bad. Mine actually cuts. And then
I can tell looking at it from this video that it's thinner.
Yeah, it's way thinner behind the edge. I've seen some of the
I
older
also
ones.
had one of the integral SNG sized one of those.
But then the other knife that I got that really told me, I was like, I stopped buying. As a matter of fact, I sold my customs. It was the Riat Horizon D, and I've said this in a bunch of that.
Those are out again now. For some reason, they decided to manufacture them again.
Yeah, and they should, because I've said it. This is the best production knife I ever have bought.
Another opinion on that, but it's neither here nor there. I think Riat's manufacturing prowess should be put elsewhere, but that's from an inside perspective, not from an outside perspective.
Well, I'm just saying, like, this was and I've said it in so many videos.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless, this was the best production knife I ever had purchased. Still is. Like, this is the bar that other production knives have to hit, and I just
that broke a lot of stuff when it came out.
Yeah, and because you were getting a $400 knife that was better than a lot of the custom stuff at the time.
Yeah,
I mean, unless you're talking, like I said, like a Michael Raymond or a Bob Terzola or a Bob Rupel or something like that. If you were looking at like super high end custom knives, but yeah, it wow, I had an earthquake. It really just kind of changed the whole spectrum. And now there's knives in the $40 and $50 price range where you're not getting like a long-term longevity on that knife. Like my RIA, my CJRB RIA. Like, if something goes wrong with this,
design. Somebody mentioned Sharp by Design.
Sharp by Design. I don't know. That's some angry dude that lives in New Jersey, like works in his basement or some stuff. Brian's like, I hate these fucking guys. But yeah, no, that was like, that completely changed the knife spectrum. And now having a YouTube channel, it's about knives. It's really cool because you get knives in that are super nice, and then you get to tell somebody. Was there
actually an earthquake?
I bumped I've got my computer set up on a bunch of milk crates in my garage. I don't want you to think this was done professionally or anything.
Well, we should do a milk crate challenge. Set them up behind the couch and see if you can walk across them.
I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40. I think I'm gonna fucking pass.
Fair.
My wife's not here to take me to the emergency room. But no, it was nice to be able to start showing knives to people on my channel that I'm like, yeah, well, there's only 200 of these and they're like $650 each.
So douchey.
Which I still enjoy those knives. Don't get me wrong. I got a whole.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I
barely sell anything out of my collection. Look at that horrible looking thing.
That's the Elliot. This was a gift from Elliot and Matt and Nico. Yeah, it's probably a lot of people are going, what in the fuck is that?
No, I love it. I'm a metalhead, man. I like Giger, so.
That's why you're the person that I sent that. You're the one I sent that picture to, that DM. Like the kid from Nirvana was suing him, and it was like, God. Dave Mustaine's like sitting there like,
yeah.
I'll post that up, guys. I'll post it up in the comment section so I can show you what I sent Levon, because he is a metalhead. I think you posted up something that had a song from Symphony of Destruction.
Yeah,
on your thing.
Destruction.
Was it? I couldn't remember, but I was like, I knew that.
I'm not like. I mean, again, I'm a snob. As you should be when it comes to this stuff. I'm a metal snob. I'm a flashlight snob, knife snob, all sorts of things, right? But I'm also, first and foremost, I'm a metal snob. But you never forget your roots, right?
Right.
And Megadeth and Metallica. I mean, that's your roots. And I had to wish Dave Mustaine a happy 60th birthday.
Jesus, 60.
Yeah, what does that do to you?
I'm old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember when he was the lead singer. I'm old enough to remember when he was the lead singer of Metallica.
Right.
That's
no, you. I mean, You didn't listen to them when he was
Yeah, I did.
You didn't.
Yeah, I did. I listened to Metallica when Dave Mustaine was there. I can't remember the bassist that died. I can't remember his name.
Ron McGovern. Well, no, the bassist who died was Cliff Burton.
Cliff Burton.
But the bassist who was in it while Dave Mustaine was actually singing was Ron McGovern.
Yeah, I mean the whole band had changed, and you had to get it underground. And you just that before they were even mainstream.
I'm just playing up my metal snobbery, but that's just a taste of it. I listen to weird shit now.
But I was saying, so
the new Cynic track dropped today. It's sick. The new Carcass album came out today. Also amazing.
Megadeth Symphony of Destruction was this first album. I told you that it was the first album I bought when I got to Japan and found a music store, and it had just released overseas. So that tells you how long.
I love fond memories of like those days are over too. Like where you go when you bought an album and like when you go listen to something and it reminds you of that time. You know, Ride the Lightning was the first album I bought in a record store.
I'll tell you a story.
So and then I got to go to bed, dude.
Yeah, we're running out of time anyway. Do you remember the old Listerine commercials with the the Listerine bottles swinging through the trees like Tarzan? Do you remember the song?
No, I vaguely do. Why do I remember that?
Because it's just so iconic. It was one of those ones with, and it was singing it, and we found the song. I was already graduated. I was waiting to leave for the Navy when that was going on. We found the name of the song, and we didn't have internet back then. We figured out the name of the song, and we found a music store, and we drove 40 miles from this rural town I was in Ohio to buy this single just because it was funny and just no goddamn reason. It was Tarzana Boy was the name of the song. And that's one of those things. Like I heard it on the radio the other day. We were in a car with my kid, and it came on the radio, and I was like, I remember when we drove like half. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because I think to bring it full circle, remember I told you in the beginning to watch AEW?
Mm-hmm.
There is a wrestler called Jungle Boy, and I do believe that is his theme song.
I'm looking up
So that's very funny.
That is funny. Yeah. Tarzana Boy was the name of the song, and it was done by Baltimora. Baltimora.
I wish I could play a clip of this without you getting demonetized.
Yeah, we can't. I'll find it. I'll find it online. MC asked if you are married. He already said he was single.
Oh no, I'm definitely single.
Definitely single.
I mean, it doesn't, but very by choice.
Really?
Oh.
I'm kidding. So you got to go to bed, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I got so much other stuff I got to do before I go to bed, but I wish I could stay here and talk about knives until I fell asleep.
You're about to.
I feel like I might. You know, I'm in one of those weird, like, I'm really tired, but this is sort of keeping me going.
It's that uncomfortable, like, I'm tired, I want to go to sleep, but there's no chance it's going to fucking happen.
But my brain is still moving. Yeah. What's this guy saying? I have cut myself off. My last purchase was an SBD Apex pre-order. My collection is well over 50K now.
Yeah. We were talking about that. He may have a problem.
Yeah.
But I didn't try to stop him because, of course, like any addict, you need someone that's going to.
If it makes you feel any better, man, I've eclipsed that several times over, and believe me, that I am not bragging.
Oh no, I guarantee the time frame that we're talking about is way different.
That's true.
His is much shorter time frame than yours.
That's probably true.
It's it has been very recent that he has.
Oh, good. He just went all in.
Just all in, like fuck it.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you have to.
If you're gonna, you got to do the dang thing right, as Chris Reeve always says.
Speaking of which, do you own a Sebenza?
Mm-hmm.
I meant to ask you because you guys always pick on Dave about, Revis Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But do you own a Sebenza? You do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it still holds up compared to the new knife market?
In a way it does, because it's a very unique item. I feel like there's not many things that still feel like a Sebenza, so it still offers a unique experience. I have a Sebenza 31, and I've really, really been impressed with it. I feel like it's kind of like Porsche. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a refinement of a thing that's technically outdated. Like a rear wheel drive thing shouldn't work and should never have worked. But they stuck to their guns and kept it going, And I respect them for that. Tim Reeve is a very good friend of mine.
I love Tim. He's one of those people that I talk to, like when I go to a knife show. That's one of those places that I'll go around and I'll see some people and then I come back and talk to Tim and Ann and Matt.
But yeah, I have a small Nkosi, and I have a Sebenza 31. That's all I have right now from CRK.
I want to see.
I want something else, but I don't know what yet.
I want to 31. I want to see the 31. I haven't got to see one yet. I saw one at the show.
It's not very different than a 21.
It's not. I mean, it's basically the.
But it has that ceramic ball.
Exactly. I was going to say. So they had the 25 for a while that had that lock interface. Yeah. And I wasn't a fan of the 25. I didn't like the additional finger choil. I didn't like the way the pocket clip set. And then they got rid of that knife and didn't do the 25 anymore. And but they basically brought that lock mechanism, that lock interface, where the detent is the lock interface and everything into the.
You said they had problems and stuff with it. I didn't have any issues with it. I haven't had. I used a knife.
I never said they had. Some people said they had problems with lock flex, things like that, and I was like, I saw the ones at the show.
I cannot see how, in everyday use, how that would be any sort of issue, even if that was something that was going to occur.
Well, and that's
the way that they were describing it, at least.
Yeah, and I was like, that's like doing a spine whack test. I'm like, people are like, yeah, but it failed the spine whack test, and I'm like, yeah, but here's the thing: if you're using the knife properly, that's not going to happen. Like, really, like if you're someone
posted something yesterday that said stuff's been messed up since everything's been out of whack since they posted that ZT lock fail video. That's true. Ever since that video went up, the entire world went out.
It did. They're like, everybody's like, well, yeah, but what happens if this? And I'm like, there is no situation that I could think of, unless I had that knife out and I fell down and I hit the knife on the table, that I would have to worry about that knife failing. Because if you're using the knife properly, it's in your hand like this, and you're pushing this direction, there is no contact with the spine. I don't cut this way. But didn't you? Was it you that cut yourself doing a spine whack?
No.
Was that Jake?
Jake didn't do a spine whack. He was actually just that. There was some truth to the ZT lock failure stuff.
Oh, I know. I've seen it. I've done it. Like just messing around. Like, wow, yeah, they all failed.
He was just literally just doing just a little one of these on a new knife that I bought him for his birthday, and then ended up like severing a whole bunch of nerves in his hand. So many stitches, scarred for life.
Well, I'll tell you what, Levon, I know you're tired and I appreciate you staying up this long. Guys, he actually left a wedding early to come hang out with us.
I did.
To answer these stupid fucking questions that I came up with.
They were pretty stupid, but I like them anyway.
Yeah, it's fun. I like to try and do something that's a little different.
I'm just messing with you. You know that.
Yeah, I know. I was in the Navy. I don't take shit personally at all.
That's true.
So, yeah, guys, if you guys want to do an after show, we can do an after show. I saw a couple of people say it. So once again, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, there's a lot of stuff that got shown. Levon showed a lot of really cool knives. I really do want you to send me one of those crystals that, like you showed with the hollowed out.
We'll link up once I place the order. I'm still taking pre-orders for them now. So if you want to guarantee yourself one or the model that you want, get in now. they're all under $300, and they're all, you know, which is nice.
My wife every once in a while listens to this.
Well, I mean, you know,
just send me one for review. I'll send it back.
I'll send you one for review.
Yeah, just for review, and I'll put it up. But yeah,
right.
So yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and let Levon take off.
I'm Levon. Come on, man.
It's the same person. You're pretty much the same person. So I do appreciate taking the time. I know it's late. I know you're tired.
It was an absolute pleasure. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this has been fun. In case you guys know, I've sent Levon a few things. I sent you this sea snake and the stonefish, both.
The snake of the sea.
Yeah.
And the fish of stone.
I have a thing with venomous creatures.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, take it easy, Levon.
The link is in my thing. People are asking for the link. If you go to my Instagram,
to the knives.
Yeah. knifenutspodcast.com/imports.
And they started a YouTube channel. I noticed you guys only have like 2,000 subscribers. If you're following my channel, you should be following their channel. So
I appreciate that.
Go give them some follows. So all right,
you.
Levon, I will talk to you later.
I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
You have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody. You take it easy.
Take it easy.
Bye.
All right, guys. I'm gonna end this. If you guys want to do an after show, that's fine. Like I said, all this will be up on. I am way behind on getting the things up on Apple iTunes. I apologize. There was a problem with some of the files, but I'm going to end this now. It's been an hour and 56 minutes. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Friday night, and I will see you guys in about 5 minutes for the after show. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, I will see you in a couple weeks. Later.